Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Make a Better World. I'm your host, David Terr. I haven't made a video on this channel in almost 2 months. I was running the Trump smokeout feature for, I think, almost the first 3 months of Trump's presidency. I stopped doing that because I think I was getting a little too angry with it. I mean, it's hard not to be angry with Trump. What's not to be angry about, right? But, I'm doing what I can to do what I think is right for this country. I've already gone to two demonstrations and a town hall meeting. I'm trying to get involved any way I can in fighting him. And I like to think that, some of my efforts have been paying off. But I don't want to get into that too much today. I think I'm going to start a new feature on this channel, and I haven't started it yet. I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff right now. But what I want to do, here's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about talking about politics in general, the history of different political movements throughout history, and how they've affected different parts of the world, and also a lot of parallels between what's going on with Trump and a lot of his cabinet and our government and what's happened in other parts of the world at different times in history. Because I see a lot of repetition. I really do. I mean, I see a lot of similarities right now with the White House and what was going on before the French Revolution with King Louis the 16th. And we could have another revolution like that. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think part of my problem, I do have a little bit of, what do they call it? Um, anxiety. I mean, what is that called when you worry too much about, when you have too much uncertainty about the future and what might go wrong. Um, you know, uh, I think I'm having some of that, and I think I have calmed down in the last couple of months. I was too hyped up. I mean, I'm willing to admit that. I mean, don't get me wrong, because I'm very displeased with what's going on. I mean, Trump is the worst president I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I think he's probably the worst president we've ever had. And I'm pretty appalled with what's going on. I mean, he's a pathological liar, and he's sick, and I think that's just very, very obvious. I mean, practically nothing that he says makes any sense. And what's even scarier is that a lot of people worship him. I think most of the MAGA people worship him. He can't go wrong by them. They have his complete loyalty, and it's scary to me. If you want to talk about another thing, another parallel through history, look at Nazi Germany. It was kind of like this with Hitler. He had a lot of supporters. They voted for him, and they let the fascist regime run things and round up the Jews and put them in concentration camps. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to get that bad. And in all fairness, I mean, I'm not just worried about Trump and his cabinet. I'm also worried about Musk. But I think you guys know the good news, which is that Musk retired from the White House, and I'm really, really glad he did. I'm glad he's not in there anymore. And I don't think we're out of the woods yet with him. I mean, he is a neo-Nazi, and he is pretty damn scary, and he's probably a drug addict too. And I don't trust him. But at least he's not running Doge anymore. At least he's out of the White House. We're safe from him as far as our government goes. You know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I do worry too much. Maybe you guys can tell me. I mean, we've had crises. I mean, don't get me wrong, because like I said, even though Trump's the worst president I've ever seen, I've lived through a lot of crises. I mean, I lived through Watergate. I don't remember Vietnam. I was just a kid during the Vietnam War. I don't remember it. But I heard it was pretty horrible. I mean, we lost 58,000 American troops in Vietnam. Not only that, there were about a half a million sent there, and I think most of the ones that were there got very severely traumatized. We've had other crises. We had terrible inflation and unemployment. in the 70s. I mean, I've had my share of hardships growing up in this country. I was bullied by just about all the kids I knew when I was a kid. Kids were jealous of me because I was smart in math and science. In the 70s, I think you guys all know, was a very strongly anti-science decade. I mean, we've had a lot of religious bullshit in this country, even though we're supposed to have separation of church and state. We have the Christian nationalism, and I think that's a big reason Trump got in power. We got a lot of hypocrisy. We got the probably the biggest division of between rich and poor since the late 19th century. And it's getting worse. And I mean, you don't have to look hard to see what's wrong with this country, and it's nothing new. I mean, this has happened before throughout history. I just watched the movie Spartacus a few nights ago. We're not as bad as ancient Rome. The slavery in the Roman Republic was pretty horrible. At least we don't have that. And I mean, I don't think things are even as bad as they were during the Great Depression. We don't have 25% unemployment. I mean, maybe it's like 15%. If you count the people that aren't even on the workforce. Things are pretty bad. Prices are going up, but I remember the inflation in the 70s. I remember double-digit inflation with Carter, and I actually voted for Reagan in 1980 because I was upset with Carter. I mean, now I regret it because I don't think Reagan was a good president either. But I'm just trying to say that we've gotten through tough times in the past, and we can get through what's going on now. We just have to do the right things. And I have faith in humanity, I do. I think when push comes to shove, I think that most people in the world do the right things when they have to. And I think we're gonna do the right things. I do. I have faith. You know. Like George Michael said, I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I'm not gonna try to sing it because I'm not a stud like he was. But whatever. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of rambling right now, but I think we're gonna get through this. I do, and I hope enough of you guys agree with this. And I'm gonna make this more structured. I think I'm gonna make this a weekly feature, but it won't be the Trump smoke out anymore. By the way, I haven't smoked any pot since the last Trump smoke out video I made. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin my brain anymore. I value my brain. I value my intellect. I think you guys should too, by the way. Don't forget that we don't have a Department of Education anymore. So try to keep your minds active, you guys, because I don't want to have another dark age. If you want to know another bad thing that happened through history, don't forget about the 1,000-year dark age between the end of the Roman Empire and the Renaissance. And I see a lot of danger of us returning to that if we don't do the right thing. So keep your brain sharp. Know what's going on. And you should guys should love science too. I do. I mean, I know science can be used for good or bad, but like I said, I have faith in humanity. I think more good than evil has come from science and technology. So we should embrace it because I think it'll save us ultimately. We're going to need fusion power, I think, in the next 25 years or so that the world can, all the world's energy demands can be met. Also, that we don't destroy ourselves with climate change because fusion doesn't involve any greenhouse gases. It'll help the environment, and I'm all for space travel. I'd like to go into space someday. I remember we went to the moon 1969, 56 years ago. Can you believe that? It's going to be, a little over a month from now. It'll be the 56th anniversary of the first moon landing, and we haven't been back since 1972, which I think is pretty horrible. And I think only about 1,000 people have ever even been in outer space. That's only about, 1 millionth of the world population, and I think that's really sad too. Because I'd like to go up there. I think it's this new frontier, the final frontier, like they say on Star Trek. And anyway, so just try to keep your spirits up and do the right things, and think about some of the things I've said, and I think I've said enough for now. Anyway, let's make a better world, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.